The Queen doesn't get this.
Good afternoon, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, members of Parliament, colleagues, friends. It is a great pleasure to once again welcome you to the Parliament of our United Kingdom, but to celebrate this National Day for England, the patron saint of St. George. Happy St. George's Day. Although it was yesterday. Yeah. This is the 10th anniversary. We have been organising this event for 10 years. It's 10 years ago that the Royal Society of St. George formed a branch here in the Palace of Westminster. And I'm delighted that so many members of all political parties have joined and supported this event over the last 10 years. But I'm also thrilled that we have had support from people from all other Commonwealth countries as well, including other parts of the United Kingdom. And I particularly like to welcome our very good friends here from the Scottish National Party. But you know, ladies and gentlemen, being British isn't just about being British. It's about upholding the traditions of our own countries and our own territories within the British family. And that is why St. George's Day is a tradition we don't want to lose. That's why we celebrate it here in Parliament, and that's why I hope at some point in the future we will have a celebration of England in the way that our Irish friends managed to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Now today, ladies and gentlemen, would not have been possible had it not been for the generous support from Visit England. And I'd like to put on record my thanks to Visit England for sponsoring today's St. George's Day reception. And I'd also like to, on your behalf, thank Mr. Speaker John Bercow for once again being so generous in allowing us to use his house for this event. And I also thank the other guests here today that are contributing, the Royal British Legion Band and Corps of Drums, which come from Romford. The best youth marching band in the whole of the UK, and also to our town crier, Tony, who yesterday was outside of the hospital announcing good royal birth. You probably saw him on television. Thank you, Tony. And I'd like to thank the Royal Society of St. George, the chairman, Joanna, who's going to speak to us in a moment. Thank you, Joanna. And also to Cliff Trowse, Liz and his team for all their work in helping to coordinate our St. George's Day group here in Parliament. And thank you for the magnificent cake. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'd like to invite our special guest of honour today to say a few words to us. I'm sure he needs absolutely no introduction. He is one of the most senior members of Parliament in the House of Commons, a great friend to me, a true champion of all things English, and above all, I would say someone who is never afraid to say what he believes to be right, even though it may not always be popular amongst those in authority. And I am of course speaking about the Right Honourable John Redwood, Member of Parliament for Woking.
Andrew, I could get used to this. Very good idea. England, our country, is a very understated country. Indeed, at times, it is a forgotten country. So I think it's probably fitting that we're celebrating our special day a day late. And I think it's also quite fitting that I received the invitation to give this address just a couple of hours ago to make sure that my English cufflinks were firmly back in their blocks from yesterday's celebration. You are very welcome here, and I'd like to pay tribute, first of all, to Andrew, who is a tower of strength for things English and things good, and this is now, I believe, the 10th year that he has pulled together this great event, very popular. These wonderful rooms which the speaker allows us to use makes it such a pleasure to come here. A few free sandwiches obviously help, but I know that you have come because, like me, you're passionate about our country and you would like it to be better known and to have more voice. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is part of our quiet and modest English campaign. So far, we've got to the point where now we MPs elected for English constituencies can make sure that nothing devolved is forced upon us, but some of us would like to go further and get to the point where we can initiate things for England and carry them through in the normal way. Because if a devolved settlement is going to work, it has to be fair to all parts of our country, and we do not begrudge Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland their devolved assemblies and their devolved choices, but we need to answer the question who speaks for England, and we need to make sure that where there are English needs and English deeds, that your elected representatives can carry them through. Yesterday was not just St.George's Day, important though that is, it is also the birthday of our greatest poet and dramatist, William Shakespeare. But I've always rather liked the fact that the date normally attributed to Shakespeare's birthday, and maybe even the date of his death, and our national day, the day of St. George, is the same day. Because it makes a very important statement about Englishness. We, as a country, have contributed so widely in so many ways to arts and science and technology, and perhaps the world's greatest dramatist and poet was born on that very day that we now commemorate as England's Day, which seems to me entirely fitting. I was reminded on the way in that the time was when English politicians queued up to be invited to speak at St. George's Day's dinners, and I hope that tradition will grow again. None less so than Winston Churchill, who was flown around in a plane in dangerous places during the Second World War as he insisted on going close to the action, and he named his plane Ascalon. And some of you will know, and I know having researched it briefly, that Ascalon is the name of St. George's weapon to destroy the dragon. And what better reference could there be? And it just shows you how well educated MPs used to be. How they are now struggling to catch up with the amount of mythology and history that they had at their command. Because England is an old nation as well as being a modern nation. And all the better for that. It means we believe in tradition, we believe that our ancestors achieved great things and established great values, but we also believe that to our modern generation falls the task of refreshing and infusing those values and spreading the message ever more widely, both within our union of the United Kingdom and around the world, as the United Kingdom comes to take its rightful place again at the high tables of the world when we leave the European Union and replace their representation with our own direct representation in all those areas. So we need to be proud of our flag, the cross of St. George. We need to be rightly proud of our country, its values, its past achievements. And we need to believe, as I do, that the best does lie ahead and that there is much more that we, our country, can contribute to this, our union in the United Kingdom, and to the wider world. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are well met today. Thank you all for coming. Enjoy the food and the company. Revel in the fact that you were born English, many of you, and that is something that is a great thing to have, and others of you have wisely decided to come here. Enjoy it as well. We are very pleased that you are with us, and we wish to pass down with you our enriched and our enhanced tradition. So again, Andrew, many thanks, and it's now my pleasure to hand over to a past president of the Society. Society, John Clements. Well, on behalf of all of you who've been invited today, I'd like to thank the Chairman, Andrew, for the 10th year in which he has organised this. Now, the Society has certain aims, and it's to foster a love of England and to spread knowledge of English history, traditions and ideals, but it also is to keep fresh in the memory people who've served England in the past to act as an inspiration for the future. I'd like to mention two people who are serving England right now and have done it for 10 years. And this is Andrew, who introduced the Society to the House of Commons, and also the Right Honourable John Burke. So I would like to say that you have here an example of two Englishmen who are most certainly serving England, and I thank them for it. A part of my life was as a colonial, and I can assure you that in a colonial situation it's much easier to identify yourself as English than it is here in England. And last night, myself and my wife attended a splendid banquet. The banquets that were referred to where MPs fought to speak at to celebrate St.George's Day, and the speaker was Lord Boulaye. And that took me back slightly, until I realised he is in fact the President of the English-speaking Union. Now, we tend to forget all the things that England has actually given to the world, not the least of which is people competing, foreigners competing to speak our language and to take part in speech festivals. And my wife used to be a teacher of drama in Hong Kong, and they had at that time the largest English-speaking festival in the world. And I was very surprised last night when Lord Boulaye said that he'd just come back from China, where there had been 1 million Chinese competing to speak our language, Shakespeare, and competing right across China. So right now we are still spreading our knowledge around the world. Now, the other things, there are so many things that England has given. In fact, there wouldn't have been globalisation if it hadn't been for the expansion of the English originally and for the cheekiness, in a way, of the Royal Navy. And so we have a globalisation which we were really the starters of. And of course, what we have now is this extraordinary performance of the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth, I'm told, has 2.4 billion people, and 70% are under 30. That's extraordinary, and they still want to keep contact with us. I also saw yesterday in the newspaper, which really interested me, that if you take the three divisions, that is the Commonwealth, the United States of America and the European Union, which are responsible for the greatest growth in the world economy. It is the Commonwealth. The Americans are second, and the European Union are declining third. So, what better group to stay with? They are expanding faster than anyone else. We have a chance to go back to them. They understand so many of our traditions. They understand so many of our quirks, our sports for that matter. And so, I think there is a very bright future for us. And one thing I would like to say is that I did hear it say just once by one Prime Minister, English votes for English laws. May that eventually come. But thank you very much again, Andrew. And perhaps you would pass on our thanks to the Right Honourable John Burke for once again allowing us to use this and supporting us over all this time. Thank you very much. Now to introduce Cliff Krause. Now, Cliff is past chairman of the Society, he is the Vice President, and he is the coordinator for the branch here in the Houses of Parliament, and he is the organiser of today. So
It gives me great pleasure today to present this bill. For the past 10 years as chairman of the Royal Society in the House of Commons. And with determination, every year holds an event. As soon as this is finished, he starts thinking about the next year. So it doesn't stop. This is a 24/7, 52 weeks a year. I sometimes hear from Andrew. So, Andrew, you're one of the special kind of breed of person, and you're very much appreciated. Thank you very much. I will be very clear, but it's what I said. He has got one of these jobs as well, believe me. I don't think that we're hard up for money. So thank you very much for that. Now it also gives me pleasure to introduce Joanna Cadman, who took the reins from me when I pulled away from the chairmanship, and she is now the chairman of the Royal Society of St.George worldwide, I would say, because we have 120 branches around the world. So Joanna, please take. Hold on. Hold on.
Never had a welcome like that before. That was lovely. Well, thank you very much to everybody. Thank you to Andrew, thank you to Tim, thank you to John, thank you to everybody for saying everything and leaving me with nothing to say. Except, I do have to say that this St.George's weekend has been quite amazing today. Not only we've celebrated England's Day, but we've also celebrated the first statue of a woman in Parliament Square, which I have to say, well, that's quite a nice moment. There's been the marathon, of course, and there was something else that's completely gone out of my mind. But then, oh, yes. The most important thing of all, we have a royal child, a royal boy, born on St. George's Day. Now, how wonderful is that? The only born out we can't call him George. Can't have everything. But that's obviously to us is a fantastic thing to happen. I'm so glad you reminded me. All things. I don't know why St. George's Day is on April 23rd. There will probably be some will tell me shortly all the historical and theological reasons why. But I think it's because St. George's Day is in spring. And spring in England is the most perfect time of year. Days like last Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, when the sun was out and the flowers were out and the blossoms and the trees and everything, it's just, where else would you want to be for England than St. George's Day? The drawback is that if St. George's Day is a public holiday, it's the most enormous fellow in the whole world, because there's Easter, there's May Day, there's Whitsun, there's too much going on. But never mind, we won't give up the struggle, but in the meantime we would enjoy St. George's Day because it's England's Day. So, thank you very much for organising the day. It's a wonderful high court and wonderful 3 days, and 10 years on wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it now gives me great pleasure to invite our sponsor, Visit England. Dennis Warnell, who is the chairman of Visit England, is now going to speak to us. Can I just say this, to echo the words of Joanna? We live in a most magnificent country, a truly green and pleasant land. And there's one thing that I think we should all do, and that is to promote England as a great tourist destination. And I know what a great job Visit England do in promoting our country for visitors from across the world to come and see the beauties that this land has to offer. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to Dennis Warnell.
Well, brassed off before, but I've been brassed on. So, thank you very much, speakers, for inviting me along here to say a few words. It's very short, and it's nice to know that it's the day after St. George's Day. We've already been told about William Shakespeare's birthday and death day as well. And to link all that back to tourism, There's that great line that the bard said, to B&B or not to B&B, that's the question. My name's Dennis Boulaye. I'm the chair of Visit England, and we're delighted to be sponsoring today's event alongside the Royal Society of St.George. As we celebrate our National Day, it's only fitting that we celebrate our fantastic English tourism industry. This sector is worth £106 billion a year to the economy, and it provides 2.6 million jobs. It's jobs in every constituency up and down the country, and it's 1 in 10 of all jobs in the tourism sector. Our role in Visit England is to make English tourism more productive and more successful. We aim to be both an enabler and an expert friend as we promote and help to develop the excellent product that we have here. And we'll do to get around the country and see some of the fantastic attractions and destinations that we have here. Only yesterday I was in Bath as we celebrated the England Excellence Awards and saw lots of great products and hotels and venues and attractions winning awards for what they do well and promoting English tourism. I hope you, like me, and all the millions of others who holiday at home will continue to do so. We have a fantastic country. We should all do more to support it. I'd like to thank you very much for coming here today and for all that you already do and all that you will do in the future to support the industry. All that remains for me to do is to wish you all a belated happy St.Georege Day, and thanks very much for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're now going to have the Laurel Toast, after which we're going to gather for the cutting of the St. George's Day cake. Could I ask Billy Kensett, who is the organiser of today's event, who is leaving my office to go and rejoin Her Majesty's Armed Forces. He's off to Sandhurst, so Billy, would you come forward, please? I would like to ask my good friends Patti, Boulaye and Sue Pollard to come and join us for the Laurel Toast. Can we have Patti and
Speak with him now. Oh, we're not expecting. We haven't had the thing.
They need another one.
We need a fanfare.
They want a fanfare.
And we have the fanfare. We've never had one before. Fabulous!
Come up here, Where's Billy?
Billy?
Okay. I'll come now.
Marvellous. The 3 musketeers and now 4.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Queen.
The Queen.
God save our gracious Queen, Lord hear our Queen. God save our Queen. Send her victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save our Queen.
Stay where you are. We're going to cut the cake. Yeah, they can be in the Tony, you come in as well.
Tony?
Yeah, I'll show you.
Wait a second.
Many years. That's what I oh, please.
Okay, squeezing everybody. Tony, do you want to give your camera to Aaron? Would you take the together, please? Okay. Tony, can we all look at the cameras now? Tony, look at the cameras. 3, okay. 2, 1. Cheese. Cheese. Lovely. Right.
Oh yay, oh yay, oh yay! A happy St. George's Day here today! God save the Queen!
Very good. Okay, countdown. 10,
9,
8,
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lift off!
Happy St. George's Day.